What are we moving towards? The Spectacle of the Self-Driving Car, written by Taylor Reed. The steering wheel spun, the blinker blinked, the vehicle turned a corner, but the driver's seat sat empty. Someone had sent over a quick video taken from the back seat of a driverless car ride in San Francisco. What I could see looked comfortable. The rides are very safe, statistically. In the background, a buddy narrated, along with a laugh. The AI future is here. It caught my attention. Does the self-driving car have a meaningful role in shaping the future? The answer rests within a web of more fundamental questions. How might cars as they exist currently be improved? How about transportation in general? Modern transportation systems of the four-wheeled variety entail warfare, death, environmental degradation and contamination, and dislocation. There's tremendous room for improvement for drivers, passengers, pedestrians, and any being that finds itself on a street or is impacted by that which is. Cars, and the infrastructure that facilitates their traffic, have done more than anything else to fragment ecosystems, disrupt communities, usher out thoughtful civic design in places designed around the needs of living beings, and necessitate the sourcing, burning, processing, and waste storage of fossil fuels, metals, minerals, and more. Does the self-driving car address these predicaments? It addresses safety in terms of crash avoidance. I'll say more about that later. While I don't intend to minimize that contribution, I want to acknowledge the limits of what real needs these autonomous vehicles meet. Robocars don't solve everything. Months ago, I navigated crowds at a massive coffee convention in Chicago. One of the buzziest stands on the floor featured a drink-slinging robot barista. Folks were enthralled. A car pulling up beside you with no one in the driver's seat leaves a similar impression. There's awe involved. Both examples naturally imprint on the popular consciousness as visions of what the future could look like. But if I'm genuinely concerned about livable futures, self-driving cars and coffee-making robots alike might be distractions. Forgive me for dwelling on what I deem a distraction. Because autonomous cars are the vehicles for these thoughts, let's consider their impacts, beginning with the labor market, safety, and reliability. As pilot programs are rolling out in San Francisco, Phoenix, and other areas, the impact on labor isn't clear yet, but real strides have been made in safety. Look at the Safe Street Rebel page. These people have the most to gain from drawing attention to accidents involving self-driving cars. You can see the concerning number of incident reports trickle down to nearly zero as the technology has improved, and one company in particular was forced off the roads. In fairness, companies like Waymo don't have to report near misses, which some crosswalk guards claim happen too often. Statistically, again, according to self-reporting, and not including near misses, they're much safer across the board than human-driven cars. However, there can be software bugs, like when this towed truck was hit by a Waymo vehicle, and then another Waymo car within a matter of minutes, leading to a software recall. They also hold some promise in terms of efficiency. If you're familiar with hypermiling, imagine fleets of vehicles programmed to do the same, eking out margins of gas and battery efficiency. And you don't even have to pay attention to the tedium of strategies like optimal acceleration and stoplight timing. At the same time, there is also the risk that the more processing self-driving vehicle computers handle, the more significant their energy requirements will be. And if you're hopping in one for a quick ride somewhere, there's no small talk or social obligations to navigate. Hop in, buckle up, and you'll soon be where you want to be. So they're safe, and there are some unknowns relating to their impact on drivers' jobs, efficiency and fuel economy, and energy consumption. They're also convenient and comfortable. Is there anything else to consider? I might be alone in thinking that potentially the most meaningful consideration lies in the assumptions the cars further and the visions they cast. That this is the way forward and this is worth your attention. They're an example of progress that doesn't actually get to the core of what's needed across the board and might actually stand in the way. What might I propose? How about tools for reshaping transportation that feel quite different? I want to know what regionally appropriate systems pave the way towards fewer vehicles on the road through efficient public transportation. What does it take to shift places and livelihoods to be less car-centric? How do you arrive in a world with less asphalt? Frankly, much of the work that speaks to those conundrums seems worlds away from what the driverless car offers. The work entails discomfort. It's slow and long-term. It likely requires conversation. It probably requires thoughtful and localized solutions that don't necessarily prioritize convenience. It might require thinking out of the box and questioning assumptions of access, seasonality, travel, interaction with strangers, taxes, gas prices, and more. It could require learning, listening, and civic engagement. You can't do these things on autopilot. Before I go further in admission, it's unfair of me to hold up the driverless car and ask that it speak to so many deeply rooted problems. Technology very well could have a significant role in addressing one or some of these questions, while other strategies might be more helpful for others. I use this lens because it's easy to view the self-driving car as a larger cultural symbol, one that stands for solving problems and shattering limits through more and more market-driven technological innovation, industriousness, and environmental manipulation. That premise doesn't capture my imagination. There's no question that tools and techniques that require lots of money, energy, inputs, and specialization have power. Their unintended effects are just as powerful, though. Their scale and lack of accessibility means there's no straightforward way to rein them in or reshape them, especially if you're on the wrong end of power dynamics. Paul Virilio, a French philosopher and architect whose work increasingly related to the sociology of speed and accidents, made the point that the invention of the ship was also the invention of the shipwreck. If the invention of the car was the invention of the car crash, and that's part of what the driverless vehicle aims to address, Virilio's point echoes. What will the unintended impact of the self-driving car be? Overall, the impacts could be more helpful than destructive or alienating. Autonomous vehicle development and rollout might be approached with good intentions, with feedback heeded and risks, costs, and side effects kept in mind. Technological tools can be used to address real needs. Again, if the risks, costs, and externalities are all accounted for, and it's used to address truly helpful things, I'm all for it. Until I recognize those patterns, I'll be skeptical. I'll continue to lean towards visions of a popular consciousness oriented towards grasping what's most deeply needed and what has worked demonstrably to address those needs in the past. We can ignore those visions, entangling as they might be, but we risk missing the point. Even if capable of making correct turns, the self-driving car might not steer us in the right direction.